So students, we are going to discuss about the topic Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, okay, which is also a part of the Peninsular Plateau region actually, okay. And this topic, the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, is from the chapter Physical Features of India, chapter number 2, okay. The Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, they actually mark the western boundary and the easternmost boundary of the Deccan Plateau region actually, okay. So in our previous class, we had discussed about the Peninsular Plateau and also about the subdivisions of the Peninsular Plateau. So we came to know from our previous discussions that the Peninsular Plateau is mainly divided into two broad divisions. One is the Central Highland and another one is the Deccan Plateau. The Central Highland, it basically lies to the north of the Narmada River, okay, and it is bounded by the Aravallis on the northwest, and some extension of the Central Highlands can be found in the deserts of Rajasthan, and the easternmost extension is the Chotanagpur Plateau region actually. Okay. The Central Highland is wider in the west and it is very much narrower in the east actually. Okay. Whereas the Deccan Plateau, okay, they form the triangular. The Deccan Plateau is actually the triangular shaped landmass which is found in the southernmost part of our country actually. That means this Deccan Plateau is bounded by it lies to the south of the Narmada River, okay, and on the west it is bounded by the Western Ghats, and the east it is bounded by the Eastern Ghats actually, okay. So this Deccan Plateau is, you can say, the greater divisions of the, okay, as because the Central Peninsular Plateau is divided into two divisions. So the Deccan Plateau, it covers a larger part of the Peninsular Plateau, okay, and it's actually a triangular shaped landmass, okay. And I have discussed already about the different physical features of this Deccan Plateau and all, okay, like the highest peak of the Deccan Plateau and all, okay, and the some of the features of this Deccan Plateau region, okay. So this Deccan Plateau is bounded by the Western Ghat in the west and by the Eastern Ghat in the east actually, okay. So our discussion will mainly focus on the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, okay, and also we will try to highlight the basic differences between the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghats of our country actually, okay. So basically the most important thing is there, we are going to have a comparative study of the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats actually. Okay, we are trying to compare, or we are trying to find out the differences between the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats of India. The Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, they mark the western and the eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau respectively. So basically the Western Ghat, it is the westernmost boundary of the Deccan Plateau, and the Eastern Ghat, it is the easternmost boundary of the Deccan Plateau. Okay, means the Deccan Plateau, it is confined, okay, within the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat actually, in between Western and the Eastern Ghat. The Western Ghat, it lies parallel to the western coast, and they are continuous and can be crossed through the passes only. So basically the Western Ghat, it lies in the western coast actually, the coast which has been formed by the Arabian Sea. Okay, in the western coastal area actually. Okay, the coastal areas along the Arabian Sea, okay, it is the boundary of this Western Ghat actually. It lies parallel to this western coast. The Western Ghat, it is a continuous change of hill ranges actually. Okay, the Ghats, basically the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghats, they are the uplifted areas of this Deccan Plateau. Means they are the small hilly regions found in the Deccan Plateau region actually. Okay, so the Western Ghats, okay, the Western Ghat, which is a hilly region, it is continuous in nature. Okay, it is continuous in nature. That means it is not diverted, it is not divided. It is a continuous chain of hilly ranges. Okay, and it can be crossed through the passes only. It can be crossed through the some of the hill passes which are found in this Western Ghats. Okay, for example, the the Thal or okay, sorry, the Palghat and all. These are the some examples of the Ghats which are found in this Western Ghats actually. Okay, the main difference between the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat is that the Western Ghats are higher in elevation than the Eastern Ghats. Okay, that means the height of the hills in the Western Ghats are higher than the hills of the Eastern Ghats actually. So basically the Western Ghats, in the Western Ghats, the average elevation is 900 to 1600 meters. The average elevation in the Western Ghat is 900 to 1600 meters, as again 600 meters of the Eastern Ghat actually. So basically the average height of the Western Ghat ranges between 900 to 600 meters, whereas in the Eastern Ghat, the average height, it ranges between 600 meters. That means the Western Ghats are much higher in elevation than the Eastern Ghats, and it resembles the slope of the Deccan Plateau actually. Okay, so from this height of the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, we can understand that the slope of the Deccan Plateau is from the west towards the east. Okay, the slope of the Deccan Plateau is from the west towards the east actually. Okay, and this is why the rivers which originate in the Deccan Plateau region, okay, they flow from the west towards the east and they drain into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so here you can see the map that this is the Deccan Plateau. This is the central part. Okay, this is the this central part of India where the Deccan Plateau is mainly found. Okay, so here actually the Narmada River is there, and below the Narmada River, okay, this entire part below the Narmada River, this entire part, okay, this entire part is triangular shaped landmass is actually the Deccan Plateau. Okay, and it is bounded by the Western Ghat here in the west and by the Eastern Ghat here in the east actually. Okay, so the Deccan Plateau is confined in between the Western and the Eastern Ghat. Okay, so as I said to you that the Western Ghats are higher in elevation than the Eastern Ghats. Okay, that means the height here in the Western Ghat, the height of the hills in these Western Ghats are more than the hills of the Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats actually. And this is why the slope of the land is from west towards the east. That means the river which originates in this Deccan Plateau region, they flow towards the Bay of Bengal, like the Godavari, the Krishna, Kaveri, okay, and several other tributaries of these important rivers, okay, they flow towards the eastern side actually. And this is the reason that most of the rivers flowing through the peninsular plateau region, they drain into the Bay of Bengal. One more thing to be noted here is that from here, you can see from here, just below the Tapi River, the red mark, which is given here along the coast actually, from here, okay, till the end actually here, till last actually, this is the Western Ghat actually, okay, this is the Western Ghat, and this Western Ghat is a continuous hill range. It is a, okay, it is continuous in nature, means from top to down, it is a continuous chain of mountain, okay, hills, which can be passed through the passes present over here. Okay, like the Thal, Bhod, Malghad and all. Okay, passes over here actually. Now see, whereas on the other hand, the Eastern Ghats, they stretch from the Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris in the south. Whereas the Eastern Ghat, they stretch from the Mahanadi valleys. This is the Mahanadi River actually, just side of Chhattisgarh. Where it is in Chhattisgarh, here only you see that Mahanadi River has been marked. Okay, so from here actually, from this Mahanadi River, okay, till here actually, just wait. Okay, from okay, hello. So basically the Eastern Ghat, it ranges between the Mahanadi River, okay, and the Nilgiris actually. Here lies the Nilgiris actually. Okay, so till Nilgiris, from here, straight from the Mahanadi River till the Nilgiris, this is the chain of the hill ranges which forms the Eastern Ghat. But these hill ranges in the Eastern Ghat are not continuous like the Western Ghat. Okay, they are discontinuous. That means they have been broken into small divisions by the rivers actually, like the Godavari River, it flows, okay, the Kaveri, the Krishna and all, okay, they flow, and they have dissected the Eastern Ghat, okay, they have divided the Eastern Ghats into various small fragments actually. The Eastern Ghats, they stretch from the Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris in the south. Okay, so basically the Eastern Ghats, it lie between the Mahanadi Valley and the Nilgiris in the south. The Nilgiris Hills, the Nilgiri Hills is actually the tri-junction of the three states. Okay, the state Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, they meet together. Okay, at this point of Nilgiris actually, in this Nilgiri Hills region. Okay, the Eastern Ghats are discontinuous and irregular and dissected by rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. So basically the Eastern Ghats, they are a continuous, they are a discontinuous, okay, they are discontinuous and irregular chain of hill ranges, which is dissected by the rivers, which drains into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so this Eastern Ghats is mainly dissected by the rivers like Godavari, Krishna and all. Okay. Another important thing about this Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat is that, okay, the Western Ghat, it receives the orographic rainfall. Okay, the western part of the Western Ghat, it receives the orographic rainfall, and the part of the Deccan Plateau which lies towards the east of the towards the east of the Western Ghat, okay, it does not get enough rainfall actually. Okay, I'm just showing you in the map once again. So basically this is the Western Ghat, okay, and this part, this side of the Western Ghat actually, they receive the orographic rainfall, and in this part the amount of rainfall is less. Okay, now the question is why? See, basically in our country, okay, we receive the rainfall from the monsoon wind. So the monsoon wind, it enters India from the Bay of Bengal from this side and from the Arabian Sea this side. Okay, so when the monsoon wind enters India from the Bay of Bengal, it passes like this way from this side to the northeastern part of our country or in the Himalayan part. But the monsoon which enters India from the Arabian Sea, okay, it starts moving towards the Kerala coast and all, and it gets obstructed. Okay, the path of the monsoon wind gets obstructed by the Western Ghat. Okay, here the Western Ghat, there the hill ranges are there, and the monsoon wind gets obstructed. So what happens because of is that this part, the western part of the Western Ghat, they receives maximum rainfall. Okay, and here the rainfall is the orographic rainfall. Orographic rainfall means when one side of the mountain receives the rainfall and the other side of the mountain get very less rainfall. Okay, so this part of the Western Ghat, they receive maximum amount of rainfall, that is the orographic rainfall, and this part they receives very less amount of rainfall actually. Okay, and after the monsoon wind, it finally crosses this Western Ghats and all, the moisture content in the monsoon wind is very less, so it cannot cause much rainfall in this region actually. Okay, so this is why it is said that the Western Ghat, that is especially the western part of the Western Ghat, they receive the orographic rainfall actually. Okay, so the Western Ghats cause orographic rain by facing the rain bearing moist winds to rise along the western slopes of the Ghats. Okay, and the Western Ghats are locally known by different names. The Western Ghats is locally known by different names. Okay, like different names are local names are there of this Western Ghats and all. Okay, like the Sahyadris and all. Okay, the next. The height of the Western Ghats progressively increases from the north to the south. The height of the Western Ghat, it increases from the north to the south. So as we already know that the Western Ghats are higher in elevation than the Eastern Ghat. Okay, but in the Western Ghat also, the height of the hill ranges, it increases as we move from the north to the south actually. Okay, as we move from the north to the south, the height increases. That means as we move from this part, okay, from this part of the Western Ghat towards the south actually. Okay, this is the northern part of the Western Ghat. So from the north, as we start moving towards the south, means from Mumbai to Karnataka and then Kerala, when we start moving, the height of the hill ranges of this Western Ghat, it increases. Okay, and two high peaks, like two of like famous peaks of this Western Ghats are the Anaimudi and the Doda Beta. Okay, means in the Western Ghat, two highest peaks are there. One is the Anaimudi and the one is the Doda Beta. Okay, whereas in the Eastern Ghat, only one highest peak is there, that is known as the Mahendragiri. Okay, and if we talk in the, about the total peninsular plateau, okay, if the entire peninsular plateau, then the Anaimudi is the highest peak of the peninsular plateau. Okay, the Doda Beta is the second highest peak of the peninsular plateau, and Mahendragiri is the third highest peak of the peninsular plateau region actually. Okay, see, the height of the Western Ghats progressively increases from the north to the south. That means as we move from the north to the south, the height of the Western Ghat, it increases. Okay, it starts increasing, and like some of the highest, two highest peaks are located in the Western Ghat. That is the Anaimudi, whose height is 2,695 meter, and the Doda Beta, whose height is 2,637 meter. Okay, so Anaimudi is the highest peak of the Western Ghat, as well as it is the highest peak of the Peninsular Plateau region, with an altitude of 2,695 meter, whereas Doda Beta is having a height of 2,637 meter. On the other hand, in the Eastern Ghat, the highest peak is the Mahendragiri. Here the height is 1,501 meter actually, 1,501 meter. Okay. Sevrai Hills and the Javadi Hills are located to the southeast of the Eastern Ghat. And basically in this Eastern Ghat, the Sevrai Hills and the Javadi Hills, these are the small hill ranges which is found in the southeast part of this Eastern Ghats actually. Okay. So these are some of the basic differences between the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, okay, which mark the western and the eastern boundary of the Peninsular Plateau region, especially the Deccan Plateau. Okay, but apart from this, there are also some other distinct features of this peninsular plateau region actually. Okay, so here you see that one of the distinct features of the peninsular plateau is the black soil area known as the Deccan Trap. So one of the distinct feature of the peninsular plateau region is the black soil belt. Okay, and this black soil belt of the peninsular plateau region is known as the Deccan Trap. Okay, now see how this black soil has been formed. Actually, the entire northern plain is made up of alluvial soil, but why in the peninsular plateau we find the black soil? What may be the cause actually? See, basically the formation of the soil, it depends upon the parent material or the parent rock. That means the rocks present in a particular area, okay, the type of the rocks present in a particular area influences the type of the soil. So basically in this peninsular plateau region, okay, we are having the igneous and the metamorphic rocks which are volcanic in origin. Okay, the igneous and the metamorphic rocks are mainly found in this peninsular plateau region. Basically the igneous actually, okay, which are volcanic in origin. That means they have been formed because of the cooling and the solidification of the molten magma and the lava actually. Okay, so these rocks which has been formed from the cooling of the molten magma and the lava, they have underwent the process of denudation. Okay, these rocks have denudated over time. That means these rocks have undergone the process of denudation. Denudation means the breaking down of the rocks into small fragments, and further the small fragments get divided, get break up into small particles, which leads to the formation of the soil actually. Okay, so actually these rocks have denuded over time and are responsible for the formation of the black soil actually. Okay, so because of the disintegration of the igneous rock, breaking down of the igneous rock into small pieces, and further disintegration and decomposition of this fragmented parts of this igneous rocks has led to the formation of the black soil actually. Okay, and this is the only reason that black soil can be found only in the Deccan Trap region actually, only in the peninsular plateau of our country actually, because the underlying rocks are igneous rocks, okay, in nature. The Aravalli Hills lie on the western and the northwestern margins of the peninsular plateau. And basically the Aravalli Hills, it is the western and northwestern part of the peninsular plateau actually. Okay, means it is the last, okay, it is the last part of the peninsular plateau in the western and in the northwestern part of our country actually. Okay, and these Aravalli Hills can be found, okay, in the state of like some parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and which extends till Delhi actually. Okay, these are highly eroded hills and are found as broken hills. So basically the Aravalli Hills, these are the highly eroded hills. That means this Aravalli Hills has undergone the process of breaking down, okay, disintegration, okay, from very long period of time actually. And like they are fragmented, okay, they are not continuous chain of mountain, but they are fragmented hills, small hills and all. They extend from Gujarat to Delhi in the southwest to the northeast direction actually. Okay, they extend from the Gujarat to Delhi in the southwest to the northeast direction actually. Okay, so this is what about the peninsular plateau in details. Okay, like yesterday we have already discussed about the peninsular plateau, the divisions of the peninsular plateau, and today we just completed the peninsular plateau, and we have explained about the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat, which marks the boundary of the peninsular plateau, especially the Deccan Plateau in the west and the east actually. So the main important thing here is the differences between the Western and the Eastern Ghat, which I have already explained to you now. Okay. So